Hey everyone who's here. We'll take a few minutes to wait for other people to join, but in the meantime, if you're here, wow, someone has airplanes. If you're in the meantime, if you're here, put in the chat where are you joining from, and we'll get started in about 2 or 3 minutes. No, people are from all over the world so far. So once again, we're still waiting for a couple more people to join. And if you just joined, just let us know where you're from in the chat. Huh. All right. We can get started. If you're just joining, like I said, feel free to let us know where you're from in the chat. But today we have a very exciting webinar for you. We just released our new Metabase version, Metabase 53. And this webinar collects all our wonderful product managers, myself, a technical communicator, and my cat, whose name is the boy. This is a very important question to answer. To walk you through all the new features in our newest Metabase. Just some housekeeping rules. If you have questions, put them in the chat and we'll have them answered at the end of the session. This session will be recorded, so you'll be able to watch the recording after the session. We'll send it to you by email and eventually put it on YouTube as well. And stick around to the end. We'll be sharing some exciting news about new embedding product that's coming out of beta this week. You probably guessed what it is. And during the session, I'll also put out some polls. So if you see a poll, feel free to answer or not, but it gives them some important information about who people attending these webinars are and how we can make them better for you. And with that, I think we can get started. Let's say, Luis, do you want to kick us off with questions and dashboards?
Yeah, sure. So hello everyone, Luis from Manager at Metabase. So I will present a new, more like a change in how Metabase works, and hopefully, yeah, this will make a lot of sense for you. So as you know, like today in Metabase, if you want to add a question to a dashboard, the usual flow is that you first need to create the question. So do something like this. You save a question in a collection, and then you can add this question to a dashboard. If the dashboard doesn't exist, you can create a new dashboard here. So yeah, now you have a dashboard, and if you want to add more questions, you can only add questions that already exist. What we are changing in the flow now is that you can save questions directly to dashboards. So instead of first creating all the questions and adding them to the dashboards, you can now first create the dashboard, So I can do something like this and add questions to this dashboard on the fly. So I can create a new one here. So I'll create something here. And as soon as I save this question, it will be automatically added to my dashboard. And I can continue working like this. I can add more questions and continue creating more things here. And they will all show up here. So now this flow is a more streamlined, so you can do something more intuitive, like create a dashboard and add questions to this dashboard. The second big change about this is that these questions don't live in collections anymore. So when you save them in the dashboard, they are in the dashboard. So as you can see, there are no questions in my collection here. They are all inside the dashboard. So no more questions that clutter your collections if they make sense only in the dashboard context. Besides that, these questions inherit the collection permissions from the dashboard. So you won't see any difference in permissions management. So if the user has access to the dashboard, they will have access to all the questions in this dashboard. So yeah, that's it. You can still move things. So if for any reason you want to move this question to a collection, you can just move it, and then yeah, you can move it elsewhere, and then you ask what you want to do in this particular dashboard. So I will keep it here. So now the question appears in my collection and also in the dashboard. You can also remove it from your dashboard if it makes sense for you. So do you want this question to appear in the dashboard? No. So you can remove it. And yeah, next time I refresh this, the question won't be here. So yeah, moving works. And besides that, the question works the same as any other question. You can edit it, you can change things. The only constraint that exists is that you can't add a question that lives in a dashboard in another dashboard. So if the question lives inside the dashboard, it belongs only to that dashboard. You can't add it to another dashboard. The reason for that is to keep things simpler, so you can always guarantee that the questions that live inside the dashboard aren't populating other dashboards. And this will also be important in the future for us to help with more advanced dashboard features like version control, better dashboard filters, stuff like that, that will depend on this property. All right, I think that's it for questions in dashboards. Oh, actually, there's another thing about this. So we know that one of the main positive sides of this feature is that you can clean your collections, and a lot of people have a lot of questions already in their collections and want to move them to dashboards. So now we have this feature here, move questions into their dashboards. So what this does, this gets all the questions that live in a single dashboard and move it to that dashboard. So, and the dashboard must be in the same collection. So now you can clean your collections with a single click. So let's do this in these examples. So here I have a dashboard with a bunch of questions that only exist inside of this dashboard, and I don't want them to show up here. So I can just move these questions. And as I do this, I move 20 questions in this dashboard so they don't clutter my collection anymore. So yeah, you can do this on any collection. The things that the questions must be in the same collection as the dashboard, so we can preserve the permissions. All right, so this is it about questions and dashboards. I'm going to the next feature. So we shipped a new feature on caching. So this is Pro and Enterprise only. So yeah, only paid plans have this feature. But now when you are editing the cache, you have a new toggle here to refresh the cache automatically. So what this does, whenever the cache is invalidated, we automatically run the queries to pre-warm the cache. So this is useful for dashboards that take a long time to run, to load, and you likely need them fast, like in the morning. So basically, now everyone will see the dashboard almost instantaneously, instead of the first person that hitting the invalidated cache would need to wait for the questions to run. So yeah, this basically makes the cache always available. So this is available for both the duration and the schedule cache settings. So if you set a duration of like 1 hour and refresh this automatically, every hour this question will run to pre-warm the cache. If you do the schedule like daily, same thing, every day at 8 a.m., the cache will be automatically refreshed. So yeah, dashboard will be fast for everyone. One important thing about this is that if you have filters like this, any parameters, this will also work. So if you have a parameter like this, we will pre-warm the cache for the default value. So here, if I add a default value, we will pre-warm the cache for this default value. And we will also pre-warm the cache for all the 10 most used parameter combinations in this dashboard in the previous caching period. So here in this example, we set the duration to 1 hour. If I set this 1 hour, all the parameter combinations that happen this last hour will be refreshed automatically in the next run. And the same for schedule. If I add this to daily, all the top 10 parameters used in the last day will be pre-warmed in the next cache refresh. All right, that's it on caching. And let me go to the last project. This is a simple one, more like a UX improvement here. So previously, models had a model details page that was quite hidden, hard to find. And this model details page had some info like the fields that are in the model, like the history, the relationships, which tables and questions are used by this model. And we moved all these things to this info panel here, so it's easier to access this information. And you have links to usage insights and actions here, so you can click go there to edit these things. Yeah, that's it. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Luis. And for those of you who just joined us recently, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we'll have them answered at the end of the session. But up next, Connor, do you want to talk to us about dashboards and iframe cards?
Yeah. How's it going? I'm Connor. I'm a product manager on the team based in New York. I'm going to show you a couple of small but mighty improvements on the dashboard side. Go ahead and share my screen. All right. Awesome. So the first up is parameters in links and iframe cards. So if you caught the 52 release, you would have seen that we released iframe dash cards. So this opens up the possibilities for you to do a ton of cool new stuff. Basically, you can come in here, add an iframe card, and then whether you're talking about a social post, a YouTube video that you're doing analytics on, maybe a Loom to contextualize your dashboard, you can go in here and really display whatever you want, kind of within the context of your dashboard. And that's all very cool, but in this sense, it's just a static link. So it's not that useful. If I want to talk about analytics for different pages of our documentation, I would have to recreate like a ton of different iframe cards. So now you can parameterize them, which looks something like this in the new example. So I can have a dashboard showing analytics for all of these different documentation pages. And then I can actually have a filter go ahead and populate the iframe and the link card. So in this case, maybe I'm interested in, let's say, custom expressions. The little click behavior magic, my parameter is populated. And so now I'm looking at custom expressions. And you can see the link card down here is updated as well. So you can build a lot more dynamic dashboards, kind of data apps that are showing people the thing that you're talking about. Maybe I'm interested in dashboard filters. So you can see that this is auto updated to be showing dashboard filters, and so is the link. Basically how this works is just like any other parameters in Metabase. You use the double curly brackets, you put in a parameter, and then you wire it up to the filter itself. So yeah, this opens up a ton of cool possibilities that I haven't probably thought of. So if you have any ideas of how you'd use this, definitely drop them in the chat. I'd be interested to hear. That is first up. The second one is another kind of smaller but mighty improvement on the dashboard side. So if you've ever had a like longer dashboard like this, and you find yourself using PDFs either to send to colleagues, or maybe you're using an old school printer. Previously, we would just render this all in one huge PDF, which didn't make it super easy to read. So now what this looks like is something like this. So now we add in nice page breaks to make stuff super nice, make sure the content's not cut off, and everything is more readable and more printable if that's your thing too. So yeah, that's it on the dashboard side. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Connor. And yeah, please give us some ideas about what you would embed in your Metabase dashboard now that you have iframes inside dashboards. And then we'll move on to Gleb. How about you start us with query builder improvements?
Hey everyone, let me share my screen in a moment. Yeah. Okay, so I will tell about a few cosmetic changes that just makes that just make your life easier with the query builder, and some other improvements we made for querying. So here I have a sample database table accounts. I will use it as an example. So I have just a plain table here and two filters added. A while ago, we added the possibility to use filters for text and category columns with the multiple values. So any of these filters like is not, contains, does not contain, starts with etc. you can use with more than one value, but we didn't have a support for this in the custom expressions. So now we added this. So now you have a custom expression, which is in, which allows you to check if the column, in this case plan, contains one of these values like business or premium, and the same way you can use not in, and you can use So you can use functions like contains or does not contain or starts with or ends with. You can put more than one value here in the list to check against. This allows you to, like, instead of clicking all these values, if you have a lot of them to pick, you can just copy paste from some list into the custom expression, and this will make your life easier. So this is one thing I wanted to share. We also, you can notice we changed a bit the buttons in the top right, so you would easily understand how to switch from this view to the editor. And in the editor, we made the buttons look more solid and bold. And now if you add an aggregation, we show these buttons to join data and to add the custom column, even if you don't have breakouts in your aggregation. We added an alias for the case function. So now you can write like this: if and some expression, get this or that, and you can save this as a custom column. This is totally identical to the case function we already had. It's just for those who are not very much into our custom expression syntax. I guess it would be an easy start to work with them. Just trying to write any conditionals like this. So yeah, these are the query builder changes. And now I will show some like long awaited but basically simple change we made for latitude and longitude columns. So before that change, the minimum bin size you would be able to choose here would be like 0.1 degrees for latitude and longitude. And what that would result to be a map like this with the squares of the size relatively similar to the size of the city, right? So here this square is almost the same as Ciudad de Mexico in its size. And this is helpful when you have data like in this table. So I can even have a bigger bin size, like 1 degree, and that would draw squares like this. Let me remove the filters so it would be easier to spot the difference. So yeah, so it's this bin size works fine if you have like data for the world, but if you want to picture something on the level of the city or even district or street level, you need a smaller bin size, and we introduced 3 more bin sizes you can pick here, like for example bin every 0.1 degrees for latitude and 0.01 degrees for longitude, for example. And then the bin size would be more like of what you would pick for showing districts of your city. So that's probably all from my side. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Gleb. And next one is Alberta with our exciting reveal about our embedding product. Go ahead.
Hi, thanks, Alex. Hi, everyone. So yeah, on the embedding side, we have great news to share. So our embedded analytics SDK for React is coming out of beta. But in case you're not familiar, I'll give you a quick intro. So most folks know Metabase as a business intelligence tool, but Metabase is also a powerful tool that to implement customer-facing analytics into your app. So you can focus on building your app and not have to worry about reinventing the wheel. Um, Many customers are using interactive embedding today, which loads the entire Metabase app instead of an iframe. I'll show you now. Share my screen. Okay, so with this is interactive embedding. So as you can see, it looks familiar. It looks familiar because it's Metabase. It's loading Metabase inside of this iframe here, which is great. It gives you the full power of what Metabase can do, like self-service and create questions and so on. But many customers have, well, this is like, it has some upsides. This is relatively simple to set up, but it also has some limitations. So we've heard from many customers that they would like to be able to better customize the look and feel, or have more fine-grained control, like more granularity in terms of bringing in only certain elements and not the entire app. And so we've built this SDK with that in mind. It's a component-based SDK for React. So if you're using React already in your front end, it's a great fit. And this is a demo of what you can do with the SDK. So for instance, here, these are individual charts that are like embedded on this screen without any kind of iframe. Similarly, here we're embedding two charts, but we still have, for example, dashboards and drill down functionality and so on. And we have powerful theming. So, for example, if I switch over, this will change the entire look and feel of the app. So yeah, hopefully, if this resonates and you're interested in learning out more, I think we'll have some announcement coming soon, and also a series of webinars that you can sign up for. And I guess we'll be dropping the links now for you to sign up. And that's about it, I think, from my side.
All right. Thank you, Alberto. All right, so this is all we have for you for today. Now we're going to move to Q&A. But while we're doing this, how about you all tell me in the chat what's your favorite Metabase 53 feature is? I know what mine is. It's one of the smaller ones, but having the in function really changed my life completely, because now I can just take a comma-separated list of 50 values and copy-paste them in a filter instead of having to type every individual filter one by one. And also, some people have asked a few questions about maps that are not quite related to 53. But I want to point out that I've been working with maps a lot. And since we released our iframe in dashboards thing, I noticed that, honestly, I can embed a map from a GIS into my Metabase dashboard and then have a Metabase map show me aggregated data, so I can see data that's disaggregated and aggregated in the same dashboard through using an embedded GIS map, which was really cool. So now we'll move to the Q&A. The first question is the most important one. Sorry to all the product managers, but Alex, what is your cat's name? There he is. His name is the boy. He is our chief cat officer of Metabase, and this is the most important Metabase employee. Next, if you have a question that's in two dashboards in the new system, are you still able to have the question exist outside a dashboard and in a collection? Connor, Oh, sorry, Luis, can you answer this?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. You can have. We didn't change this part, so you can still save questions in collections and add them to multiple dashboards. The thing is, if you save the question in a dashboard, you can't add it to another dashboard. So that's the limitation. But you can still save questions in collections.
Yep. Is percentage of total support in table visualization going to be released in 53? Well, does anyone want to answer that question?
I can take that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll see a lot of cool stuff related to table viz hitting in Metabase 54. Just to foreshadow a little bit, text wrapping is definitely in that bundle. So tables are going to get a lot more flexible and powerful in Metabase 54. Things like automated totals and percentages are also very much on our radar. Can't promise a specific release, but keep your eye out with alongside all the other cool stuff coming out with tables.
All right. There were a couple of questions about, like I said, maps, and check out our webinar on maps that we did a while ago. There is a recording on YouTube. And if anyone has any last minute questions, put them in the chat. But in the meantime, I'll reinforce that we're very excited about the release of our embedding SDK, and Jess dropped some link in the chat where you can watch the live demo or subscribe to our newsletter to get the announcement. So stay tuned for that. It's a really cool release, and I hope you'll like it. In the meantime, I don't see any more questions in the chat. So all right. There's another question. I didn't quite understand how to use the iframes. Connor, do you want to talk more about this?
Yeah, I can briefly show one more time. All right. Cool. So it works similar to like link cards work today. Basically, you go up here, add in an iframe, and then you use these kind of iframe syntax, and you're just going to point it to like a URL, a blog post, a loom, really kind of anything that can be iframed. This is kind of the basics. The stuff that we went over was how to get a little smarter with it, and you can replace this with a parameter and just put in curly brackets like this. But for most static use cases, it's just going to look a lot like this. You might run into something where you have to first allow from that domain and admin settings. But if you get that error, we'll point you there, and you can just add the domain. But this is kind of the syntax that it works with.
Cool. Thank you, Connor. And if you missed that or you need another reminder, there is a video on our YouTube channel that we made for the release for parameters in iframes. One of the coolest usages that I saw is actually having a form, like a questionnaire, a survey embedded in the dashboard, and then have the data from the survey that you just submitted embedded in an iframe show up in a chart, say, on Metabase. All right, any more last minute questions? Going once, twice. All right. Thank you all presenters, and thank you all in the chat. Like I said, this webinar was recorded, and you should receive a recording in the email, and you should also be able to check it out on our YouTube in a few days. Thank you all for joining, and have a good day.